I obviously work very closely with Rob, and are you live streaming? Okay. So I think they set me up here just so that I could be, the polished before this guy goes out. So, also to earn my keep since I didn't present today.
He's got shoes though.
Yeah. And the belt. You can see the belt. Yes.
Wait, let me suck it in.
But as you know, our team has been making a lot of investments in the product, in 7, in Flex. And we all know that cloud and mobile are big trends. Everything that Yuri talks about, mobile workers, everything going to the cloud because it's faster, cheaper, easy to update. So what I just did to prepare, or just to intro Rob, is there's some interesting stuff out there. Everyone loves stats. So worldwide spending on cloud infrastructure and services is 160 billion. We're about half of that. Just kidding, we don't spend that much. 2/3 of all public cloud spending is from software as a service, or SaaS applications. More than half of all enterprises are expected to reach being on the cloud by the end of this year. So the trend is growing. And actually you can see the growth, the 5-year CAGR in the low 20%. So this is where the market's going, this is where we're going, this is why we are developing on Flex on the cloud. In terms of mobile, I know the sentiment on mobile from last year, so we'll have some updates for you today. But mobile, everyone knows that we all use our phones all the time. More than half of all the website traffic worldwide is done on mobile. In terms of remote workers, I know I'm virtual. I work actually in our Norwalk, Connecticut headquarter office, but I work from home often. I'm sure many of you do too. So that's growing over 100% year over year. And then this one's interesting. 80% of people look at their emails before going into the office. Definitely do that. And 30% check their inboxes while they're still in bed in the morning. Anyone do that? Raise your hand if you check your emails when you wake up in the morning. Exactly. Don't want that visual. No, so with that, so we're trying to make the right investments in terms of not only the technology but the people. And so what you will hear from Rob, who also just took a new role this year as director of the cloud infrastructure and other things.
Head of mobile development.
And mobile development. You'll hear what we're doing, what platforms we're using. You'll hear about our service level expectations. He'll cover mobile. And then the big question I think we should probably cover towards the end is your demo sites. How do we get you updated, working demo sites? So with no further ado, here's Rob Bingham.
Hey guys, I'm Rob. Do I need this? Do I need this? Because I think not. I mean, I got a big mouth, so it should.
I should have warned you, by the way, but the unpolished just.
So anyway, if I can speak over my shoes and my belt right now, that'd be cool. As Juanita so poignantly put it, my name's Rob Bingham. WAS saw fit, whether it be in insanity or foresight, to allow me to have the opportunity to take the position as director of DocuShare Cloud Operations globally and head of mobile development, because mobile had been so stagnant for so long. Which Thierry, where'd he go?
He's left you, so.
He left. He was so scared for this entire block of conversation he left. But Thierry has been very adamant about, Rob, where's mobile? Rob, where's mobile? And I just took this job in January and I have 75 emails from him about it. So, without further ado, who in here has Android? Wow, there's like 11 of you. All right, keep your hands up real quick. So all of you are in the Cool Kids Club right now. Because by this weekend, yeah, you can put your hands down now, Brian. By this weekend, our UI, UX, uplifted, capable Android application will be in the Google Play Store. iOS users, the really Cool Kids Club, because Apple is Apple and they like to hold things back and slow us down. It may be 7 to 10 days, depends on how long until Apple says it's released. But I didn't want to wait for Android users because I've heard from you guys, and I've heard from you guys, it needs to be fixed, it needs to look good, it needs to work. So it's going to work and you're going to like it. My plan, I'm going to cover this, is to do an iterative approach, month after month after month after month, adding new features, new capabilities, new updates, push notifications, and a whole bunch of other stuff that I'm gonna get down to in here. But I wanted to cover that first because I know that it's been on the forefront and people have been wanting, and there's little hints and whispers about it all through. So let's just go ahead and knock that out now and get that off the table. So y'all be like, okay, is he gonna get to mobile? Covered that. Now we'll get to the stuff that's really gonna bore you. So this is me. Now I'm gonna give you my resume. Back when I was at Gateway, no, I'm kidding. I was never at Gateway. For those of you that know, it's funny. For those that don't, I'm sorry.
Must be an American thing.
Yes, indeed.
Predecessor.
So my predecessor. I'll give you a brief rundown of me. I'm from Texas, right outside of Dallas, a tiny little town with about 6 horses and 5 cars, and I decided I was going to join the military, so I joined the Navy. I did primarily anti-ship missile defense, signal analysis, and electronics warfare for the Navy. I got tired of being on a boat and out to sea all the time, so I got out for a while and said, oh, I really miss it. I'm going to join the Army because I want to shoot guns and blow stuff up. And I got into cyber warfare and did not shoot guns and blow stuff up very much. Then I decided I wanted a real job, and what better place to go than Silicon Valley. And then I ended up at Xerox. So, but in all honesty, it was probably the greatest choice I made because I loaded up myself, my family, everything I could fit in my truck, and literally in my truck, and drove out to Cupertino, right by where they're building the new Apple headquarters. And I did a brief stint contracting for the Electric Power Research Institute, and then Xerox kind of searched me out and said, hey, you want a job? Here I am. So that's just kind of an overview. If you want more information, me to bore you to death, hit me up at dinner because I got a lot of cool stories. All right, so DocuShare is now, we've moved things to be on a cloud-centric environment to give you a better capability to deploy globally. With Brexit, or Brexit 2.0 or 2.5, whatever it's called this week, with data laws, safe harbor, this turning into GDPR, all of these things, we're going to require you to keep your data in country. Xerox as a whole, great organization, great hardware stuff, but data centers is not what they do as a business. So we had to figure out Amazon or Azure. Azure gave us a better discount, so guess where we went? Azure, and that was a corporate decision. But Amazon is coming online as our CIO, Alyssa, or CISO, Alyssa, she had a really good relationship with them, and they're negotiating a contract. So for those of you in Europe that want to utilize AWS, it is on our roadmap for the second half of this year to start onboarding stuff into AWS and learning that and getting resources in that to deploy our solution sets there as well. So, but no Google Cloud yet, because just not where we want to be. But this is kind of where we operate in, a lot of media, virtual machine stuff like that, and this is the obligatory make a cool Venn diagram thing so that way that you have pretty graphics, right? But I mean, I'll talk it out for you and tell you what you want to know, but not what what I think I want you to know. If you have questions, interrupt me, because I'm interactive, obviously. So, any questions on this? What do we do and what don't we do? DocuShare, private cloud, hybrid on-prem connectivity via VPN or Express Route, and DocuShare Flex. DocuShare Flex hybrid coming soon, and on-premise capability, I'll get to you in just a second. On-premise capability will be coming soon as well. In the back there? That's a great question. No, go ahead.
You mentioned global. In fact, here in this room, we are more targeting customers that would have one country project because we are more in SMB market. And what is very important in the choice of Amazon or Azure for me is the capacity to deploy an area in Belgium, in Spain, in Italy, in France, because all these markets require to have things in their country.
Yep.
Whether don't know, but in your choices, if you could select Amazon or Azure also, because of that would be good.
And I 100% know exactly where you're going with that, and that's the reason I brought up Amazon coming online in the second half, because there are places that Amazon can deploy that Azure currently isn't. And because Europe is going through the entire EU/non-EU based countries of I think 164 total or something like that, that are on the fringes as well of the 140 that do technically fall into the EU, and some other larger like China and Indochina and
Because
South.
in Azure, we don't have that price. With Azure that we can see here, we don't have that.
That is correct, and because of some of the data interchange laws that exist, most of the European countries can communicate inside and outside of other data centers. But because there are customers like you're bringing up that want to be directly, in just say in the Netherlands, right? They want their data to reside there, not to traverse the border, so forth and so on. We have that in taking it into account to bring on AWS to enable you with some expanded features, expanded locations. So that is there. So, and I'll cover this in just a second. So, 2 routes for cloud delivery. 1, you come to my team, we do it. Done, whatever. But for VARs and concessionaires and you guys here, you're like, yeah, that's cool, but I want to do it myself. So we, myself, Brian, Wasim, and Pavan, we've all been working very diligently to create a point, click, and play deployment to get you to your own cloud on-prem for your own stuff. We're going through the validation process, and we're going to find all the glitches and gotchas that we can. But I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. Everybody in this room that's ever interacted with me knows Rob was going to send that email. I swear to God he was. And I let it slip. These fine gentlemen right here, Zenith, Clive, Active Documents, we had a very candid conversation. I make mistakes. I'm human, and I'm going to own it. And all of you in here have gotten a demo from us at one point or another, a Flex demo. Cecom, I can't say your name right, Cecom, correct? Is that, I don't know how to say it right. TPAC, the lovely lady Ingrid there that's ignoring me. I'm kidding, I had to call you out. Now, everybody in here has gotten a demo from us, and with that being said, you're not happy with them. Some of them, it's great, it's working fine. Some of them, you're not really using it. You didn't have the experience, or you didn't have the interaction. So tomorrow, while you are doing these breakout sessions and everything, I'm going to set up a nice little chair in our relax room, because that's for me, so I can relax. And anybody that wants me to rebuild their demo, wants their demo, come sit down with me for 15 minutes. We'll build it right there with you, face to face, hand in hand, and I'll make sure you have exactly what you need when you leave the chair. Deal? Deal. So we're trying to introduce a new level of service to you guys. I can only do what I can do, as I'm a fairly small team, but I'm human. I do have to sleep at least 15 minutes a day. So I want to rebuild that relationship between my cloud and all of you guys, and to let you know that we actually do care, and that you're important to us, and especially to me in the cloud, because I have to justify the fact that he took a leap of faith and said, hey, I know you can do this, so do it. And I want to rebuild that relationship and that trust between you guys and us. So with that being said, here's some really cool stuff that you can ask questions about, but the ability for partners, VARs, and concessionaires, I just put partner on there because there was a lot of words and it made the box look stupid. So, any questions on this? Comments, concerns, gripes, complaints?
It's probably early June though, isn't it? 47, yeah. Sorry,
Definitely a typo.
May or June, okay? Let's shoot for May, and if we'll keep you updated. This is June. If WAS says June, I gotta take what's handed to me, because there's things on the administrative side that I don't control. This is from me to where I can get to them. But there's things that Pavan has to do, there's things that Juanita has to do, there's things that marketing has to do. There's a lot of other factors besides myself. I'm a little bit of a cowboy, and I'm like, woo, let's go do it. And then, yeah. So, let's talk about this real quick. So, security, GDPR. Did I put PR? Yeah. GDPR. Where did he go? I know he's in here somewhere. We were having a brief conversation. Anyway, so GDPR, May 25th, fast approaching. And all of you I know are like, shit. Some of you are still looking for DPOs. Some of you are still looking for governance. Some of you are still looking for, you know, man, I can't even talk right now. I'm so thrown off. No. Section 30, paragraph 4, SQL SQL exports for 30-day turnarounds, it's chapter 30 or whatever 33, right? Section 33 that gives you 30 days to give your audit and breach reports and your designations of authority within your organization and things like that. So I wrote up this very beautifully crafted 17-page solution for how our enterprise content management solution is, in fact, GDPR ready. Pavan and I have worked diligently with the 460, not 46 person team at Xerox to get them all kinds of documentation about DocuShare itself. Then I also included in there how DocuShare and DocuShare Flex itself can help with your GDPR compliance. I didn't write it as a sales tool. I wrote it because I'm a nerd and I thought it was cool. How you can segregate the things you need, give auditors external access for their period of time that they need for your audit, where you can put your logs and how you can utilize the workflows and stuff inside of DocuShare to help you manage GDPR. I'm not a sales dude. If you want to read it, I'll send it to you. It's a little dry, but I'll send it to you. I don't have a problem. It's not polished. It's not brand approved. It's just Rob. So take that with a grain of salt, but it's me, right? It's what I wrote to help us out. 50 regions worldwide and 140 countries for Azure that can utilize, communicate, and access data inside and outside of Azure, including the US, Europe, Southeast Asia, so forth and so on, which you'll see on the next grainy little map here in a moment. But I want to talk about the security and stuff of the cloud. Because somebody brought it up, do we do, hold on, okay. Hold on, I can't hear you.
Regarding the availability in 140 countries, when we looked at the map that Olivier was commenting out, it doesn't look like there is 140 data centers.
There's not 140 data centers. There are 50 data centers worldwide, globally, that allow access for 140 countries to actively, without regulation or regulatory oversight, to connect at ad hoc or at whim, at will, right? There are other countries like Syria that, hey, there's some things. It's a known terrorist state, right? So they're on a lot of radars of being a negative place to host or to utilize incoming, outcoming data. You know, if you were from Macedonia, right? So if Macedonia were put on that list, then maybe that would go down to 139, just because if there was something going on, right? So, you know, it's ever fluctuating, and I can provide you a more detailed country-to-country list. I'm doing some research now for Christian to ensure that, you know, like, what was it again? Algeria can connect. Also, on the radar in the EU and the US and many other countries as being a state-sponsored terrorist center, correct? So that being said, we know that encryption and stuff like that, we can't export our encryption or utilize our encryption key there because they don't fall into the list. Just like China, even though they're a huge trade partner with the US and everybody else, we also know that they're kind of dodgy and they like to hack our stuff and keep it, right? And use it against us. We know that. So, you know, even though they can access stuff and they're one of the 140 countries, there's still regulatory oversight that we have to be considerate of. That's just another part of my job that I have to be tracking all the time. And they are the #1 country to constantly ping all of our IP addresses every day to try to steal data. Every day. 60, 70,000 times a day. So, with that being said, and segueing right back into this, we have continuous 367,000 times a day. It's 367,000 times a day that we have a reporting mechanism that feeds back into Azure. I think it's 367,000. That it's constantly real time scanning every file, every log, everything for changes. Already built in as soon as I build an instance on there. Antivirus, automagic. Any instance I build, antivirus is on there. We're utilizing Trend Micro on that if anybody wants to know. An enterprise agreement that I have with them. We also have web application firewalls that sit on the edge of the Azure network on top of Azure's world-class cyber threat defense center that they have. And then again, on the outside edge of that, we have a Barracuda next generation firewall. One second. That sits there. So it goes Internet, Barracuda, Azure Cyber Defense Center, dual layer WAFs with a honeypot in there, so that way I can offload fake traffic and people that are trying to be malicious into a secondary firewall that sits on the edge of every individualized network that we build out. And then those networks are subnetted or broken down again with another firewall in between them.
Yeah, it was just a link asked earlier about the virus checking and the content encryption. So is that virus checking to protect the server side rather than the users?
It is for both.
Because with the content encryption turned on, the virus checker surely is not going to find any virus because it's encrypted.
That is absolutely correct. But we do, I'm getting to that in down here when I talk about the hundreds of built-in security things. We do malicious behavior activity scanning. So just say that your PDF document that is infested with a macro Java based, just say macro.jbs. That was the big one that went around, I don't know, about 6 months ago. It was embedded into Excel spreadsheets, right? Because do you want to enable macros? Well, yes, of course I do, because it's this cool spreadsheet. So that Java thing came in. But also they found out that if it's sitting on a server that has Java enabled, it can start to propagate itself because Java's running and it's trying to run a process all the time. So we take a known base of the application. This is not heuristic based, this is behavior based. So it's continuously evolving for us to watch these different applications. So Prism, which is the viewer, right? You guys saw that? The Prism viewer uses a particular JavaScript file called phantom.js. It's built into it. Prism, when they wrote it, that's what they named it. Well, because of its behavior, it was originally indicated that it could possibly be a bad file. So we went through the entire thing, did a full analysis on it, and worked directly with Microsoft, sent that back to Prism, and they changed it so its behavior didn't reflect that. So every file that's scanned into the system that you bring in is watched for its behavior to see if it escapes from the known baseline. If it does, then it's flagged, we're alerted. Once we're alerted, then we bring it to whomever's attention. So if it were your site and your particular file, clive.pdf, is particular or potentially malicious, my team is going to email you and ask you what the intent of this file is. And because you guys write some really cool software, right? And y'all put it on our servers, if that comes up like recently with the security scan stuff, we will continue to do that. And that's constant all the time.
Yeah, but I'm more concerned about the users who are uploading PDFs. But my understanding is they'll get encrypted straight away and then virus checked.
So the content encryption on DocuShare, DocuShare Flex is different than the data at rest, data in transit, and data in use encryption that I do on Azure, because I also do that.
Yeah.
So I do data in transit with a 256-bit AES 256-bit SHA-2 salted encryption. And the in transit is, we only allow TLS 1.1 unless there's special circumstances that we had to bring in 1.0 or 1.2. And everything from where it sits to when it's backed up to the very moment that you take your standard PDF, upload it, or whatever file, upload it, as soon as it hits my servers, on all Flex instances in every country possible, it is encrypted with content encryption by default, period, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's built in, we do it.
And the difference that Rob is saying to your question is that the encryption is at rest. The content, let's say this user did upload a PDF document which has some sort of virus.
Yeah.
It gets encrypted, and in order for the request and response to happen, the system is going to decrypt it and send it over. The minute it hits the pipeline, it's going to catch it.
So he's virus checking it out in transit.
Absolutely.
Yep.
The minute it transit
In transit,
happens, it's
at
gonna catch
rest.
it as checked.
At rest if possible, in transit when available, and when in use at all times. So if it's in use, actively non-encrypted on my server, I am scanning it all the time.
And the minute the first flag goes off from that particular instance of a customer, we know that something is wrong with that instance. So first thing Rob is going to do is he's going to take that instance offline so that nothing gets spread out. And he'll privately investigate that instance in his site. So that's the whole purpose. And this is custom for what we wanted to offer. Rob is not, this is not something standard that you get with every Microsoft Azure. This is something that layers of security that he built.
And I built it with the DoD standards in mind because that's where I came from. And I wanted to be able to offer that to every customer. And not at a premium. I don't want to charge a gazillion dollars just so I can say, oh yeah, you got the same thing the DoD has. So, the Department of Defense, I'm sorry. U.S. Department of Defense. So, for those that didn't know. Question? Oh, so the infrastructure. This is an SLA directly from Microsoft. This is what we agreed to with them. This is what I am committing to agree to you guys for the infrastructure itself. I do not run the application. I host the infrastructure that the application sits on. But the infrastructure itself is self-healing. If there's an issue with a region on this map, so just say you're in the West US 2, there's an issue. Everything will automatically, without any intervention from my team or anybody at Azure or any third-party access or any contractors, subcontractors, subcontractors, automatically it will move to the West US and give you the highest level of service. If you're sitting in UK West, it'll automatically move to UK Central, or from UK Central to UK West. No intervention, no issues, no nothing. If you have a hard drive that we migrate your machine and we quote unquote leave your hard drive on UK West and we move you to UK Central, whoops, we screwed up. That would, in any other data center with any other solution set, that would cause an issue because there's going to be lag because of IOPS, right? Input, output stuff. But with the way that I set it up, is if we move your main central server, we leave a network card behind, or we leave a hard disk behind, Azure will automatically migrate everything to the closest server possible to it, or closest availability set to it, to always ensure the fastest capable speed. I spent a year and a half building this, so I put a lot of time, effort, and energy into it. But any more questions on this?
Yes. Rob, how can you assure that Azure data center is GDPR compliant? Because you have the EU data shield, the privacy shield, and Microsoft is obliged to get access to the data from the US authorities. So as far as I know, there are only 2-3 Azure data centers hosted by IT systems as a mandate for Microsoft for you to own the data in your country.
Which is Germany.
Which is Germany, right?
Right, and I figured that you would be bringing that up, and we have been working for almost a year directly with Microsoft. I have an agreement in works right now for Germany because we have to utilize a third-party data provider as per the I forget exactly what it's called, but because the country of Germany has such high data protection laws, and they don't allow their data to traverse outside and be accessed by other third parties, as you pointedly put it, is we're already working those contracts to ensure that that in-country data will stay in country, and
So
that
right now we don't have it, right?
Germany, I'm already online in Germany. I have to wait until I have the signed agreement from our Office of General Counsel,
So you don't-
legal.
Yes or no? I mean, it's an easy question.
It's coming.
It's coming. I have it, but I can't give it to you until OGC signs off.
Okay.
That puts us at risk.
Okay, which other countries?
Let me get back to you on that. I can get back to you on that, but Germany is the one that I've been fighting the fight with the longest because it is very particular, incredibly particular with what we're trying to do and what we're trying to ensure that we're enabling. So that way that it gives you the greatest confidence in your data in Germany.
Just as Rob mentioned it, but we have to be compliant with our Office of General Counsel as well, so we can't just go and do these agreements, so our corporate legal has to sign off on everything as well, so that takes time as well, so.
Correct.
So again, do I have it in other countries as well?
There are other countries, yes.
Which ones?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'll get you the list, and we can sit down and talk about it one to one, so forth and so on. I have no problem with that. Obviously, I have no problem talking. So, other questions, comments, concerns? Yes, I'll give you the list, just in case.
Doesn't believe
Long
you.
list or small list?
I'll make sure to write that down as an action.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll write it down as well.
I have a question, but only if you have a short answer for it.
This is me we're talking about. I don't know. No, go ahead.
It's more, but the thing that's interesting for me, if you're saying that the product is GDPR ready, that's something wide, right? You said you wrote anything about that. Can you describe a little bit what you mean was?
Yes, I wrote a 17-page white paper explicitly breaking down exactly how each individual section and article, like Article 30, Paragraph 2 for SQL meta table refreshes and for SQL meta tables, and how they relationally, and how you relationally connect them to a person's PII.
Okay, so the thing you described is where's data stored, where to give it to in the application, correct?
Correct.
Okay, good. That we have all the contracts we need. If we store any data in the cloud, and anybody's asking, where's my data gone? Yeah. Where do we give it to? Is it secure? Does it document?
Yeah, but let's be very careful here. So Xerox has its own compliance office around GDPR, so anything that we send to you has to be vetted, verified, validated like that. So Rob may have a position paper that explains things in terms of how we do this. Before that comes to you, that compliance consultant, because again, it's only making machine, they have to validate that. So it will come to you. We have done the work, Rob has done the work, but again, we have to comply with corporate.
Yeah, but it's good if you start with that.
Yeah.
Yes, I have that information, and I can verbally spew it out to you if you'd like. I don't have a problem. I can make no commitments on behalf of DocuShare, Xerox, or the corporation as a whole, but I can tell you exactly what we've done and what I have validated and vetted, and every step I've gone through with our engineering resources, from the people that wrote the UI, UX, to the people that wrote the underlying framework of the entire workflow engine. Everything, I've tried to leave zero stones unturned on that. Unturned.
So yeah, have a conversation with Rob. It's
Yeah,
a
I mean-
formal document than continuing.
And we can share this document with the people here in that room? or-
Not until OGC blesses off on it.
Yeah, exactly. So you can
I-
have a conversation, but any documents come.
Any document, I have to say CWAS, and I have to say the legal people gotta do their thing. Because if I share it, then that puts as a official stakeholder that us as DocuShare is saying that Xerox will uphold. And I like you guys, but I'm not, I'm not gonna get fired because I put the wrong T in the wrong place. I mean, or a tiny P somewhere.
I just wanted to ask, just get a general gauge on GDPR from
It
the.
sucks.
Is that something that you're still hearing about? Are people panicking about it?
Yes.
They're still, really, I got the sense that people had already ticked the box if they were.
Oh, no.
Oh, it's such a huge headache. I mean, on the numerous forums that I'm on, there are still companies that are clamoring to even figure out how GDPR affects them and how they would even do an audit tomorrow. There are people that are still trying to identify exactly how they can segregate duties and roles of a DPO, which is a requirement in their organization, and whether their CIO can fill it or their director of IT can do it. You know, whether or not they actually have PII, and does that exist in a digital format or does it exist in a paper format? And that's something that a lot of people aren't discussing, is how much PII exists in a paper format that you're now gonna have to digitize, then have the right to forget, show the destruction of, annotate, time, date, stamp that, and then archive it for an auditor for up to 20 years. Those are things that people aren't taking into consideration.
Just maybe one comment on the team tomorrow will give us his perspective as the DocuShare researcher in Germany, and I think that will apply to all countries about his experience, positive experience, about using the GDPR as a sales enabler. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how that can be reproduced, maybe with our help, a bit packaged, because so far we haven't helped you guys to do anything with GDPR. We do recognize this and speak it, but I think that tomorrow we'll have an interesting 15 minutes presentation.
Cool. So, can I keep on because I'm a little behind and people are going to start, I'm between you and stuff. So, containerization. I know everybody cares and they want to hear about it. So, who in this room, besides you guys, y'all can't answer, you're like, no, knows what Dockers and Kubernetes is? Docker and Kubernetes. There's like 2 other people. So, we're utilizing Azure Container Services, which is essentially Kubernetes on Azure, and we utilize Docker files to run a full-on container-based system with real-time load balancing for some of the smaller solutions that we're deploying, because we're in a beta test / production readying test on it. So this is the one thing that nobody wants to see. This super sad, crazy error right here, like, oh, 404, my stuff's not found, it sucks, it's broken. So I decided that we needed something better. And I created this little portal that I can, so, I'm gonna pick on you again. Probably spelled your name wrong. Don't judge me. So by putting this in, real quick, does a little thing, starts building it out. In a second, an email will pop up to tell me that the provisionings began, and then I forward you to our DocuShare.com site, because we gotta throw some branding in there, right? So in approximately 10 minutes, a full instance with SSL certificates, email forwarding, relaying, and everything will be set up, ready to go for you to use as a small use case. So it'll, by that I mean it's not built to be this huge production ready client facing thing, because I'm still ramping it up. I can spin up an instance that'll support 1,000 users doing this, but I wanted to introduce it to you guys so when I roll out my beta plan that I can ask you guys to test it out and give me feedback and enable you to be able to spin up your own instances of Flex for you to present to your customers and future customers and prospects, that you'll be able to not need to come to us. You'll fill out a little form. It'll be a little more complicated than this. You'll fill out a little form, and it'll put that information into our awesome NetSuite system that everybody seems to love, and take that part out of it for you and our own internal teams, and enable you guys to be able to sell faster and more efficiently. And after 30 days, it automatically shuts down and clears out. And if you need another one, hop back on the portal, spin another one up.
You support proxy certificates?
Yeah, I'm offloading with the Nginx. And then we're doing all the SSL offloading there and single IP sourcing with offloads as well. So that's that. I just want to kind of kick that out to say these are things that are coming. These are things that I want to help to enable you guys, and that WAS has been kind enough to fund and say, yeah, go forth and do, and that we're taking exactly everything that we've said up here the entire day very serious, and this is a culmination of showing you that. With that being said, I'll be transitioning to mobile stuff here in a moment, but I have a mobile pilot plan. It's DocuShare.com/mobile pilot. Everybody in this room, write this down, that cares. None of you. Cool. So what this is your ability to give us direct feedback, which normally is just an email to Terry. Terry sends an email to me. I forget to email Terry back. Terry sends an email to Juanita. Juanita sends an email to me. I put it in a folder, ignore her. Terry sends an email to Waz. Waz texts me, Rob. That's not the process. Okay, that's not really the process and how it goes. There's another step where I completely ignore other things. But I don't put it in a folder at all. But
You're lucky you don't live close by.
that's why I live on the West Coast. But we wanted to take this opportunity to bring you in closer, so that way that we have that a more, I don't want to say intimate, but more intimate relationship, right? And you providing us feedback directly versus indirectly with, oh, it's a pain in the ass. I gotta email this to the support. And the support people gotta do this, and I gotta email Terry, and Terry has to do this, and Terry's like, I'm so sick of getting these emails. And it's time for that to stop and for us to embrace an iterative approach. And when I said that WAS is taking a chance, this is me taking a chance back and allowing you guys to drive the development of our features and stuff in mobile. So this is just a brief look and feel of the mobile upload or the mobile design. So you see this, there's a button on here that has my name right here. If all else fails, you will email me directly with that. That is how serious I'm taking getting your feedback. So you don't have to bother Terry with it or whomever. This is my direct email. It comes directly to me. No proxying, no groups, no nothing, to me.
So we need that answer. Do we have to email?
You email Waz, and Waz will text me, and then I'll put it on Slack.
Put it in workflow.
And then my Slack channel will drop it into DocuShare, and a workflow will kick off, and eventually Cecile will get an email. I don't know how. But no, I just wanted to embrace the fact that we need to be more open and more willing and more capable to take stuff from you guys and be able to answer back and be accountable.
So is this just going to be suggestions for mobile, not for everything?
I'm only taking suggestions for mobile. If you have suggestions for DocuShare Flex, you can send them to me and I will forward them on. I'll be dead honest. I have no dog in that fight and how it looks and feels. That's Pavan and product management and Waz and those guys. But if you have stuff, by all means.
But to be honest, I mean, you've got the head of product management
right there.
right behind me.
Yeah, so
you've
can you
got
just,
feedback.
yeah, so can you just like expand it a bit and have it for everything rather than just mobile?
Well, if you,
Can I?
Yeah, it wasn't just lip service and things that we were saying. Yeah, you guys have got feedback on the product, then let us know.
Email address.
Yeah, because I think Terry gets sick of me just constantly hammering in.
And you got the benchmark on the first row, because then it's like shy.
Not shy at all. Great though, they are seriously great.
Yeah, but we take that, yeah, and we need that as well. Because,
And trust me, I can promise you that you will not receive a thrashing verbally as you get when you talk to Clive when he's super pissed off. Honest to God, like he has very pointed things that he can say in a very couth manner too, which is, that's a little disturbing because I'm like, oh man, I think I'm in a lot of trouble here. So, great guy though. All right. Great guy. I owe him a beer or something. No, seriously. Like Clive has brought a lot of things to my attention, and he's Clive, Zenith, and these guys have been really drivers of how I need to respond and how I need to actively create a dialogue and communication with all of our partners, including these guys. Honestly, it's something that hadn't been done, and it's something that needs to be done. And make it fair. I mean, y'all have my email address now. All right, so UI UX refresh with analytics and stuff. That's in the mobile release that's coming out in April. These are tentative timelines. Don't hold me to dead hardline dates. These are depending on developer resources, Apple putting us in or updating our app on time, bugs, SQA, and smoke testing. These are tentative timelines. I want to say tentative about 1,000 times here.
Just before we start looking about the
Tentative.
the future, can you remind them that there is a new mobile app?
Oh, you're. I covered that first when you abandoned me, Terry. That was first out the gate.
I've been on the grill for 3 months.
Was that the 64-bit one that was never planned? That just fell off. The iOS just fell off, and then.
And that's why appended to the end of my title is now head of mobile development. Because Waz like, hey, congratulations on the new position. I got this thing that you really need to do. And he's like, I was like, oh, what's that? I'm up for a challenge. Then he said, head of mobile development. I'm like, sounds cool. He's like, Thierry has some emails for you. And trust me, when Thierry found out that I was heading up mobile development, the emails came in. I think I should have counted them, but there's at least 10. Now, so April, I'm going to go through this real quick. Approval and workflow. You guys have been clamoring for it, begging for it, asking for it since 2012 when the app was first launched. Hold on. 1 second.
Is this 7 or Flex?
You see this?
Oh,
Right, it's in this last box. Juanita.
it's to the point.
You need a cookie. Cookies out there. So, you guys have been clamoring for approvals and workflows and kicking off workflows and stuff like that in the app since it was released originally in 2012. And that's on my roadmap. Next is signatures, digital signatures capable for the approvals and workflows that are in there. I'm also including push notifications for jobs and tasks that occur that involve you directly. I am indicators, so direct indicators that allow you to quickly, on iOS, you have the quick hold, right, where you can hold it, brings up a subtext menu. You can see your tasks and things that are assigned to you that are still due out, so you can bring that up, open the app, and go directly to those. That's coming, that's on the roadmap. Lastly, DocuShare Flex, which is, you're like, yeah, this is the 8th annual DocuShare Flex partner symposium event forum thing. But I'm taking an approach, instead of having a separate application for DocuShare Flex. Well, yes, sir.
One question for understanding. What is the goal of all these mobile things? Having functionalities that we can sell, or having functionalities who are there?
Mobile is free from us. We are investing a ton of money to make it a sales enabler for you. To say, hey, you are going to have a mobile workforce. As we pointed out in this amazing slide right here, 52.2% of all web traffic is mobile, right?
So it isn't the goal to develop anything that can be sold.
No, it's two. So on the one hand, this is about user experience, and we want to make sure that we've got a strong user experience for the mobile supply power. At the same time, there's some certain level of investment that we can put into this. That we know that it's a sunk cost. So for this, if you want to take it and sell it, and you've got a customer willing to pay for it, fine, go ahead. Our view is we want to enrich that mobile experience, so we're not going to charge for it now. Maybe in the future we may add certain modules on top of this that command a premium that customers willing to pay for. Fine, we'll do that. But the things that Rob's mentioning, it should be free.
I mean, if you guys look at other enterprise content management mobile apps,
Yeah.
they have these things. They're out there. They're free.
Yeah, exactly.
And if we charge them for the stuff that they're offering for free, it's not a sales enabler. Now you just push them to another customer because they can get it for free.
The truth.
But in which case, Tim, you are more than welcome to take it and charge for it. We have no constraints there. But for us, it's, you know, we won't charge you. So it's win-win for you.
No, not really.
Why not?
No, but because I'm asking for two reasons. If you do, or if DocuShare is doing something for free, it's always dangerous and it will be small in the future or not, because nobody's earning money. First point. Second point is, we need things on the price list that we can charge our money with. And if something is sold, we have an investment to develop it. If you're talking about other ECM systems, my experience is that all the bigger ECM systems have for sure some basic functionality for free, like access the system and reading something, but all the rest of these functions, like signing something or whatever it is charged, and it's not cheap.
So there's two ways we construct our business cases internally for mobile. The main way, so add-on services that customers willing to pay for, we will add on. However, the business case that's made for this internally is quite simple. It means that it allows us to sell more solutions. And so we're selling policies and procedure management solutions, and we don't have a mobile version of it, and a competitor does. And someone's got a competitive user base that's heavily mobile, we're probably going to lose them. So I want something that we don't lose. So therefore, from a user experience perspective, we're going to have mobile for some of these solutions. So that's the way the business case is done. Now, if there's additional features that we believe that customers will be willing to pay for, then incrementally we will add them on, and there will be a charge mechanism. But the way the business case is built here at the moment, it isn't a case of, hey, we are investing here and we think there's going to be incremental mobile revenue just for this stuff. This stuff is table stakes, as Rob said. We don't have it, we're going to lose people. We don't want to. We want to make sure that again, user experience is solid enough, and it's table stakes. But if you're seeing things though that you believe absolutely are modules that we should be charging, then happy to have those conversations.
Well, one example that we met everywhere is the possibility to have a mobile device for signatures.
A physical mobile device only for signatures?
Yeah, it's mostly a combination where I have a workflow, any document as a workflow, and I can access the workflow with any mobile device, smartphone, tablet, or whatever, and doing the signature that is legal safe, like with a fingerprint or doing something with a finger or
With the RSA ID verification.
Yeah, all the phrase now, yeah. It's something that's trend that is getting standard everywhere. The most German system.
And Germany's a unique animal in and of itself. I mean, there are a lot of very unique things that data protection wise that y'all require. And I think it's very admirable, like literally some of the things that they actually have in place for data center operations are amazing to me.
German typically, it's all the biggest company, all the Highland on base is doing that, and the outsource to it, all these products go. I mean, the problem with mobile is everyone wants to have it, but no one's really using it. Why? There's a use case on your mobile. Everybody's just accessing, sometimes reading. But
Maybe we should have a conversation, like myself, you and Waz, and let's.
See,
I do all my expense. I approve all, I approve
Yeah.
expenses for 15 people and do it all on my mobile.
yeah.
So it's an approval process that I use my mobile for.
Workflow
Absolutely, and I wouldn't
Absolutely.
put, we use Concur, widely available for, simple off the shelf because we're an SME, and I wouldn't have done it if I couldn't approve on my mobile. We wouldn't have bought it in the first go. So I kind of do feel that it needs to be part of that capability.
Yeah, the workflows we've been pushing for years. That's big. That's a big one.
And I've read emails from 2013, 2014 that are like, well, what about stamping and things like that? And there are other things that are in there, but I can't put everything in every bill. That's why we're going to take an iterative approach. So I'm not trying to squeeze you out of the conversation. I'd like to sit down and have an actual conversation with you guys, find out exactly what your pain points are, exactly the kind of billable type of features that you're looking for, because I have no problem putting you in direct contact with our developer that's developing and building this and saying, hey, these guys, help them out too, and then y'all can work out however you are going to do that, and they'll be more than happy to allow our code base to be utilized for a one-off solution that is not Xerox or DocuShare branded, that is for you guys, and that's something that myself, you and Woz would have to talk about with whatever special ninja features that you would like. Honestly, like,
Let's do the basics.
yeah, let's get the basics first, right? So, all this stuff, relevant alerts, stuff like that, why you should be excited, because I'm telling you about it, that's fine. But, like I said, we're going to do this monthly. So don't be surprised if you just downloaded a new thing and a week and a half later, all of a sudden it's got an update. Maybe we found a bug. Maybe we introduced a new feature. So I'm going to be very active in updating these things that hadn't been done in the past. That was the old regime. And you guys said, and you said it very clearly and concisely that, oh, you're building something that may not get supported, just like this didn't, and iOS 11 broke it. That's the old regime. You have brand new faces and a brand new organization with a brand new roadmap. And we want to get rid of that old view that we're not going to iterate. We're not going to, I heard somebody say, well, normally when I look at DocuShare stuff with these partner forums, the technology is already 3 or 4 years behind. That's not the case anymore. We want to be on the leading edge. And Woz tells me I can't jump to the bleeding edge because we don't know what it'll break. But I want to push that. With machine learning and artificial intelligence and things that Woz broke down. There are a lot of really cool things that we're doing right now. And there are a lot of cool things that we want to introduce, but we can't just spit it out there, right? So we want to be more enabling. We want to give you something that you'll be proud to carry around and say, yes, I have this. DocuShare's doing this. So how do we support you? This is some cool stuff you can read. If you want to know, come sit with me tomorrow. Let's sit down and have a conversation. I'm going to be sitting in the relax room, like I said, waiting for people to just come hang out and talk and get whatever you need done and answer the questions that you have. All right, so cloud deployments clusters, I broke that down. Android this week. I did this first, but you were out of the room. iOS 7 to 10 days. It's coming. Once it's out there, I've been working with Miss Juanita back there in our product management group and marketing to get these communications out there. We know that we update things and then you're like, oh, look, it's on the website. Now I can go get this update. So Juanita and her entire staff of like 74 people, it's not that many. It's like 4 people, right, or something. No, she has great people. I've been working to create these messages so that way that you guys are more informed. And the same thing I'm asking her and going to her team, so that way when we do mobile stuff, it goes live, we introduce it to you, send an email the day it goes live. Yes, sir.
Sorry to interrupt.
No problem.
Will the iOS update trigger an update through the App Store, or is it a new install?
Yes, it will.
It'll
trigger an update.
Yeah.
Android, we shortened the name because it looked really stupid. Xerox, we tried to take it down even further, but branding's like, no, it must say Xerox. Okay. Well, some things we have to abide by. Some things we just kind of skate under the radar. So this is the Xerox logo, which means I'm open for questions, comments, concerns, or whatever. And so whomever needs to use the restroom and just wants to leave and not listen to me, that's cool. I'm okay with that. Any of you that want to actually ask things, except for him, no, please go ahead. So let me just stop this live streaming here because I talked for exactly an hour. Yes, sir.